And now an after-concert interview with Alvin Anders.
Well, I know you just got done with this show, and it was a show. When you got to the intermission, I actually thought you were going to say, and now for my last song, and then it was for my last song before intermission, and then you did 23 songs, plus a little medley, there's a few more.
Right.
What a show of Hank Williams.
Thank you.
You really, it was more than I ever dreamed of or expected, and you gave me an experience. Well, you know, I'm a Hank Williams fan.
Yes, I know.
He is my number one go-to song inspiration for songwriting. And to see the closest thing I could see of like what he would have been like performing, because you've really captured his essence.
And that's what I tried to do. I never claimed to be Hank Williams, but I tried to, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows that he's gone.
Right.
But I tried to give them that experience.
Yes,
to the closest, to the best of my ability.
Yes, I can attest to that. But now I'm interested in your journey to this point, and I really would like to go way back, because you're not from Florida.
No.
You're not from Nashville.
No.
You're not from Alabama.
No.
So tell us about your childhood, your earliest beginnings, and where you're from.
I was born and raised in Detroit. Number 5 of 6.
Okay.
And again, as I said, I was a colicky child, and Mom had a 45, and on one side was Honky Tonk Blues, and on the other side was I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. And she used to play I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry for me in the crib, like a lullaby. And that's how I went to sleep. So my earliest memories are of that song.
Isn't that
when
amazing?
I learned how to play, there was a hillbilly gentleman that lived down the road. His name was Jimmy Sears, and he used to sit on his porch, and he had an electric guitar that only had 5 strings on it. He had a big old bushy mustache with tobacco in it, and he was missing teeth. But the guitar only had 5 strings on it. It wasn't plugged into anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he could sit there and play that guitar, and I was just in awe of it.
Yeah. So electric guitar, but it wasn't plugged in. So it just kind
of. It only had 5 strings.
So it didn't even have a full sound.
Right.
And it's
right.
not plugged in.
But he could play that thing, and I was just so.
And about what age
amazed.
were you
I was
with him?
About 13.
13.
Yep, I learned how to play when I was 13, and I told him. I asked him to teach me how to play, and he showed me 3 chords and said, if you want to learn anything else, you have to learn on your own. And that was on a Friday, and by Sunday I was singing and playing.
Oh.
And the one song was I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. It was one of the first songs that I learned.
I'm So Lonesome.
Yep.
I Could Cry, yeah.
Along with the George Jones too.
The classic I'm So Lonesome, yeah. I just thought of that last night. It was the moons were in the clouds, and it just that song just when you see that night.
Hank Williams has a way. His writing has a way of speaking to all your senses.
Yeah.
You know, the silence of a falling star lights up a purple sky. Your ears, your eyes.
Yeah.
And as I wonder where you are, your mind.
Right.
You know.
And the emotion and. I mean, he won a Pulitzer Prize in 2010, and his daughter, Jet Williams, a lot of people don't know about his daughter. They know Hank Williams Jr., and his daughter lives in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet her last year 3 times, which is a big honor for me.
I met Jet Williams, it seems like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
When I first started, she was playing in, it was either Gaylord or Grayling, Michigan, and her husband was alive at the time.
Yes, he's a lawyer.
I think it was just after her book came out.
She
saw me in the back of the auditorium dressed up. I was wearing a suit like, the brown one or whatever, just a Western suit and a hat. I wasn't dressed up like Hank. I wasn't, but she saw me in the back of the auditorium and came running back to me with her arms open saying, "Dad."
Oh my God.
It was the best compliment I could have ever had.
That's a great story.
I was just blown away.
Yeah. Well, and she's, she was born 5 days after he passed away, and and if anybody hasn't gotten her autobiography, Ain't Nothing as Sweet as My Baby. I actually got her to autograph the book.
Yeah, I got it.
And Yeah, it's like a little, and she realizes when we see her that she's that little actual touch of Hank Williams,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and it makes it nice. Now, isn't it funny? You had your little mentor, almost like Hank Williams had
It's like-
T-Tot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel, now there's, Tom T. Hall has a song called Clayton Delaney.
Okay.
And Clayton Delaney is about the person who taught
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And were his influence.
Mhm.
And I believe that all musicians and everybody who sings has some sort of somebody that pushed them in that direction when they were a young child. Now the seeds are always there.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't know if it's going to come out eventually, but everybody has that person.
And I don't know if you've heard it. I've heard it recently. It's on YouTube. Hank Williams Jr. wrote a song to T-Tot.
Oh, really?
And when you watch it on YouTube, don't just get him singing it. He's on a stage and he tells about what happened. It says it took him years to write this song. And then he finally wrote it from a young boy's point of view.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
It's great. Yeah. And so it's nice to have that in your life. So now, okay, you learned how to play the guitar. And so how did you progress along to develop into Hank Williams? When you're young
I
child?
always sang the Hank stuff from the very beginning, as soon as I started to play. No, I was into Elvis too back in the day. So it could have been a toss up for me. I could have been an Elvis tribute artist, or I could have been Hank. I steered towards Hank, and probably just simply because of Jimmy, because of the guy that taught me how to play. Just because it was there in front of me. It was something to grasp onto.
Right.
You know.
So, you mean, did he know Hank Williams songs? Is that?
Oh, yeah, he played a lot of Hank Williams songs
yeah.
too.
Okay.
But just a lot of the older country.
Yeah. Get a good taste for it all.
Yeah.
Because I know you like, you've done some George Jones songs and Johnny Rodriguez. I watched that one.
Tom T. Hall.
That one you sent me.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's just, and having just had seen Johnny Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And you could feel you. So that's something. I've met a couple Elvis tribute artists, and even the great ones, Ronnie McDowell, who's my local Elvis guy, he talks about how he kind of has to take a moment to just kind of get in to Elvis, and then he has to take time to get out of it, But when I saw you play tonight, it was effortless. I could tell you have got the spirit of Hank Williams in you, and it just feels like you're just kind of that way. You've kind of took on a feeling of him. And did you work on that a lot, or did it just come naturally?
When I first started doing Hank, doing the actual tribute, dressing up and going out on stage and doing an actual tribute, about 2008, 2009. And I really didn't know. There was a woman that I used to go karaokeing with, and she was a promoter for a guy that did Toby Keith.
Okay.
And she kept telling me, you have to do this, you have to do this, you can make this money, you can do this, you can do this. And at the time I had just come off a relationship, I was kind of broke and really couldn't do anything. Eventually I did buy a suit. I think I spent $50 on a Western suit and another $30 on a hat or something. And I got dressed and I stood in the mirror and went, oh.
Whoa.
This might have something. This might actually work.
Yeah.
But after that, I just tried to, I have a mirror where I practice, which is actually away from my house. So I can go out there, and practice at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning if I want without
disturbing anybody. Yeah.
But there's a mirror, there's like a 4x4 mirror out there, and that's what I practice in front of, to try to make things look. Now there's only, 15 minutes of Hank Williams footage?
Yes, I can't, that just boggles my mind. And there's just a couple with him kind of doing his thing, but there's people that talk about it. He was a real rock and roller and getting it on there.
But because there was only that much film, it made it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Now, if you go try to do Elvis or even George Jones, there's George Jones, there's 50 years of material that you can look at.
Well, I never thought of it like that.
So just having that small sample kind of made it easy.
So now tell me, just back up just a little bit. So when you were younger, did you enter a talent contest or anything, or did you play at school, or what?
I did all of the above. No, I used to sing some a cappella, some Alan Sherman songs, some funny songs, and I was one of these kids that always got in trouble at school.
Okay, no.
So the teacher that was in the lunchroom at the time when kids were bad, he would bring them up on stage during the middle of lunch and make them sing something to try to embarrass them, to try to, of course, me, I did it on purpose, and I learned these funny songs, and I would get up there and I would do these funny songs.
Oh, fun.
But then shortly after that, that's when I met Jimmy, and that's when I picked up the guitar. Just after I turned 14, there was a contest and a place called Nashville North in Detroit.
Oh.
and there was a whole bunch of people there, but we went there, and my mom was more nervous than I was.
Really?
I mean, you could just see the beads of sweat on her forehead.
So is this a talent contest then?
Contest,
okay.
Yeah. But it had a live band, and
Okay.
but it was back in the 80s, they had like the big Western clubs like Gillies, and it was a club like that.
Yeah, well, Urban Cowboy was out that
exactly.
hit the waves and
so but it was a big stage, it was a big place, and so my mom was nervous, and I was like, no big deal, because I'd been singing in the cafeteria.
Yeah, you're a pro now, yeah.
So, but she said, "You want to win this contest?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "You see that lady over there? Go ask her to dance."
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So then I did, and I asked her to dance. Then I asked her friend to dance, and I asked her, but I ended up winning the contest.
What, was she the judge or something?
No, they were people that were going to clap. You know what I mean?
Because they actually knew somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
So
good plan there. So mom got you.
Mom pimped me out.
Mom pimped you out. Now I want to. Your outfits on stage. This is one of them, and you have another one with his famous notes all up and down. Tell us how you came about to get these that looks authentic, nudie outfit look.
Yeah. They were both costumes were made for me by a gentleman who makes Elvis jumpsuits.
Oh, okay. So he knows what he's doing.
In Thailand.
Okay.
So, and the music note suit, about 2 years of research went into that suit to get it to where it is today. And it's pretty much an exact replica. And a lot of people think that the suits that suit is black and white. It's not. It's cream color and navy blue, like dark blue.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because of the black and white photos.
Right, exactly.
And stuff. Yeah.
There were no colors.
Yeah.
I was at the Hank Williams Museum years ago and did see the suit in the museum, and I just thought it was faded. I just thought
the blue,
the black,
had faded.
I just thought it was faded.
Yeah.
But when I actually did the research and I talked to people that worked at Nudie, they're the ones that told me what the suit was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one is one of his other suits, the fringe suit.
Looks great.
But yeah, both were made custom for me.
Yeah.
And you wear. But I have nightmares. I literally the music note suit has been something that I've wanted for years and years. And with all the research and everything that went into it, I have nightmares that someone's going to steal that.
I know. Well,
literally.
I mean, you always get something real special. Then it's like, and with all that effort, and the effort has paid off. You're practicing. You're doing his songs. Your background. I think you do Hank Williams proud to share his songs, because a lot of people could be like me. Now, I grew up in Southern California, and we did not have country down there. Mm-hmm. We just didn't. And I had to study it myself, and I just kept coming back to Hank Williams. Yeah. Kept coming back to Hank Williams. Well, what would happen is when I got his songbook and started listening to all his songs, I'm going, well, I know that song. Mm-hmm. I've heard that song. But other people were singing them. So this might be the case to your audiences nowadays. They might, when they hear your repertoire, they might go, oh, that song's familiar. Yeah, I like that toe tapping one. and not realizing those were all Hank Williams songs, you
Right,
know.
right.
And so you are introducing to a whole new generation what these songs
And
were.
that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Mhm.
I do these shows and I look out at the audience and the demographic is getting smaller every day.
Oh.
So somebody needs to push the ball forward.
We need that new generation.
Right.
We need to get into this and they. But once you hear them, you know, there's something about them. You know, I've listened to all the other entertainers up to the modern ones, Lainey Wilson and Jimmy Allen, everybody in between, Johnny Cash, everybody else. But I just keep going back to Hank Williams. I can't get enough of it. And there's just something there. I mean, there's a reason he won a Pulitzer Prize, you know.
Right.
Well, you know, I appreciate this time with you.
You're welcome.
The show was magnificent, and we'll put up your contact information if anybody wants a show or wants to. Now, if they want to follow you, like when your next events are, do you have like a website or
You can confirm me on Facebook.
friend you on Facebook?
I like to converse with everybody.
Okay.
If anybody, no matter who they are, if somebody sends me a friend request and I approve it, I always send them a personal message back.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. Well, we became friends,
Yes.
and look where we are today. This is just like a dream
I just
come
want to say
true.
one of the best things about doing this are the people that come up to me after the show and say, you know, that song reminded me of my grandpa, or that song reminded me of my mother, or
Mhm.
you know,
Like they were little and maybe
Right.
somebody had the record on,
right,
the
exactly,
45.
exactly. Well, but everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
You know, a story about Hank Williams. Now I had a woman. I don't know if I should tell this or not, but I had a woman I did a retirement home years ago, and I had a woman that came up to me and said, "I saw you back in 1947." And I couldn't break the woman's heart.
No.
So I said, "Oh yeah, how you doing? I remember you."
Oh,
So,
well, you know, you have to do that sometimes, you know,
I
and
did
and
love
you made her day.
I'm
You
sure
did.
I did.
You did.
She
You
might
made
not
her
remember
day.
it 2 hours later, but I made her day.
Well, I know I'll be following you, and we'll get some new fans here,
Awesome.
and we'll put up your information.
you.
And thank you for this time. I like to know the man behind the legend, you know.
Right.
And thank you very much
Thank
for
you
your time.
Very much for
Okay.
coming. I appreciate it.
Okay.
This episode sponsored by. Come on down to Grandpa's Music at 1033 Park Street in Westmoreland. Live bluegrass, country, and gospel music every Saturday night. Shows start at 6 p.m. and admission is $8. First Fridays we feature karaoke and Grandpa's Music Jam Session 10 to 2 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesday. New and seasoned musicians are always welcome for music lessons, so bring the whole family. Grandpa's Music at 1033 Park Street in Westmoreland.